reconvene here on a sad, dark, dreary, drizzly, gloomy Monday morning as the rain will be in and out of our forecast and the Falcons will be out of our playoffs as they had their fate handed to them really last week when they lost to the Washington Commanders, but they still had a glimmer of hope, 11% chance of making it to the playoff. And it all went away as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stopped the New Orleans Saints on fourth down with less than a minute to go in Tampa before the Falcons got done, thus securing the final set of circumstances for the Falcons as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the champions and the Falcons go into the offseason and now look forward to the draft.
Yeah, I was there, and it's as bad as you could possibly imagine it could be. You start a season 6-3, 4-0 in the division, and I think as John Michaels put out there on Twitter and the X platform yesterday, to finish the way you finished and do the stuff that you did with a 2.5-game lead in the worst division and the softest schedule in America is one of the more embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. So that effort and performance you put out there, specifically defensively yesterday with everything on the line, really the last
2 weeks.
Yeah, last 2 weeks, coaching, playing, performing, and trying to make it happen. It's super frustrating. I was out there yesterday. I was at the Dirty Bird Nest with Ovu Mahaley, high-fiving, taking pictures, signing autographs, being with fans and being around them and seeing how the energy and excitement was still there. Home Depot backyard, mingle with people, seeing Terrence Mathis out there running around and Algie Crumpler. Guys that love this franchise and want it to be successful and just continue to get let down year after year after year. It's exhausting. It's an exhausting experiment that we're going through, trying to be fans of this franchise and this team. And until they can figure out what's going on, this is I said it when it happened. You can't go into an offseason. You can't build a team the way they built it, tried to build it the last 4 or 5 years. This is a total disaster.
It's a crapshoot.
It's 100% failure. And I'm quick to throw that out there, but I'm sick and tired of garbageness in the NFL. 7 straight years of missing the playoffs.
Impossible, dude.
You spent an offseason selling us that Arthur Smith was the problem, so you fired him, and you brought in Raheem Morris, and you sold us on he learned in Los Angeles and being a coordinator. Whatever. He's still the same bad head coach he was in Tampa. You sold us that we're bringing in a $180 million quarterback, and that's all we needed. And he didn't make it through the regular season because he's old and injured and now overpaid. You sold us that drafting a quarterback at number 8 instead of fixing other needs was the way to go. Now, that may end up being a great move with Michael Penix. He looks like he can play. The problem is your defense still sucks. I heard about Jimmy Lake. They turned the corner because Raheem Morris started getting more involved in the defense. But the last 2 weeks when you needed stops, you got none. The Panthers scored more points yesterday than they have since 2019.
Goodness.
Fire everybody. Fontenot, get your sorry butt out of here. Raheem Morris, one and done like Jared Mayo. Jimmy Lake, gone. Zach Robinson, gone. Everybody in that front office needs to go. All of them. I don't want to hear any more of, well, we're building. What in the hell takes so long to build a playoff team in the NFL? We're the Jets. We suck, and I'm sick of it.
Falcons lose 44-38 in overtime. The Panthers scored in every quarter, including the overtime session. The Falcons found themselves regressing where they had been one of the best or the best sacking team the last 4 weeks until yesterday, and they could not get to the quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons could not get any stops. The Atlanta Falcons could not take momentum from the Panthers, who were a 4-win team coming in to the final game of the regular season, and the Falcons had a bunch of miscues and breakdowns defensively. Wide open wide receivers, wide open catches on third downs, wide open receivers in the red zone. There was nothing that showed resistance. And then when you got to overtime, you had a chance to even get a stop there or two, and you didn't. They marched right down the field. You don't touch the ball, and they punch it in at the end. 5 touchdown passes for Bryce Young in his final regular season game. He throws 3 touchdowns as he was able to throw in 3, and then he was able to score on the ground as well. So there you go. You have a situation where you have 6 touchdowns scored on your defense, the final game of the regular season. Symbolically, it would have meant something, but the game was over about 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and now questions are abound. There are no wrong answers today. 404-231-1680. Do you want the general manager out? Do you want the coach out? Do you want the offensive coordinator out? Do you want the defensive coordinator out? You want the offensive coordinator to stay? You want the defensive coordinator to stay? You want the coach to stay? What combination of staying or going does everybody need to go?
It's almost like this is like an experiment for whoever's running this whole thing, because you really, I know Raheem's not a first-time head coach, but I mean he's been there in Tampa, did not go well for him at all, and then he bounced around a lot. He was here in Atlanta, then a defensive coordinator, I believe, if that's his roots, which is hard to tell.
I don't know
what's going on the sideline because he's still doing nothing. To watch him there and put the headset on and not do a whole lot. Finally called some timeouts yesterday.
Oh, he took 2 to the end of the game.
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
2.
Yeah, well, he couldn't do anything with those things. It's like first time offensive coordinator, first time defensive coordinator from college, for God's sakes. A head coach who's a retread that tried it before and didn't succeed the first time and doesn't look like he's going to succeed again this time. And an organization that decides they're going to build their team, unlike any winning franchise in the history of America, where you build it from the outside in, because that's worked so great so many times. Mm-hmm. Said nobody ever. You build from the offensive line and the defensive line and out. And we have done 4 or 5 straight drafts with top 10 picks and skilled position players. What do you do this time moving around?
Well, you're not winning games. The strategy of going offensive heavy, is not winning you games. And a couple of these guys have been here for a few years. Now, you look at it, now that the season is over, Bijan Robinson finished 3rd in the National Football League in rushing, only behind Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. So he's not the problem.
He's special.
Drake London, who people said was too slow and not a number 1, well, he is a number 1. He had nearly 1,300 yards receiving, and he finished 4th in the NFL, only behind Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and then Brian Thomas down in Jacksonville. So he's not the problem. Michael Penix Jr., who people didn't want, but we ended up working it out because of circumstance, he shows that he can throw the ball, as he can with another potential game-tying or winning drive at the end. So he's not the problem. So offensively, you have some pieces, but you can't be right on 3 pieces. You got to be right on your middle linebackers and your defensive line and your safeties and your cornerbacks and your offensive line. And what are you going to do with Kyle Pitts? So you can't be right in just 3 places. And that's the issue. Where do you go to get right quickly? You're going to hear this a lot today. 404-231-1680. No wrong answers today.
Can you sucker anybody into taking Kirk Cousins? Anybody? Because there's going to be some quarterback-starved teams in the NFL. Will anybody take him and, we eat a bunch of the salary? Can you get a pick for that? I like the 3 guys that you talked about. Penix, Bijan, and Drake London seem like the future. I said before the year 90 for 1,200 for Drake London, which seemed like a stretch. He went over 100 for almost 1,300 yards this year. He's a number 1, as you talked about. The problem is I don't know who you are the 4th year into this rebuild after Matt Ryan. There's still no identity to this football team. Are they an offensive team that's going to try to outscore you? Maybe. But that just really came about the last couple of weeks after you benched Kirk Cousins. So I need to see all of next year with Michael Penix. Defensively, you stink. I know you had some games this year that you played well, but for the better part of the year, you've been an awful defense. You don't have anybody up front that you have to block. There's nobody up front that an offensive line goes, I've got to take care of this guy. Yeah, Arnold Ebiketie had a nice pressure rate over the last 6 games. whatever. That's what I think about that. You know, Grady Jarrett, we love Grady. Grady plays solid on the inside, but he gets double teamed the entire game. Caden Ellis is a solid linebacker, but nobody's confusing him for TJ Watt. He's a good backer. And A.J. Terrell's a good corner. He's not a lockdown number one, can't throw to his side type of guy. You have to rebuild the defense. The problem is you had to rebuild the defense last year, and you threw $180 million in a broke-down quarterback and then didn't address defense on the draft. Right. It's stupid. We have a general manager right now who's in over his head, period. I've given him the benefit of the doubt.
He's not
Fire his ass.
Terry
He's not good.
Here.
Yeah, it's great that he's here. He's not doing anything.
Well,
he's building losers.
It's a season of what if. What if Kirk Cousins was a little bit better? What if Younghoe Koo didn't miss a bunch of kicks early in the season? What if the coach took timeouts in Washington? What if you showed up and had a little bit of pride defensively the last game and won the Washington game? The season of what if now leads you into an offseason of a bunch of what ifs and unknowns now that you have to completely add and retool the defense, and you don't know if the guys in the building are going to be here, should be here, or if they are here, are going to be the guys who can fix it. 404-231-1680.
It's interesting. You talk about kicker. The guy we bring in off the street misses by 72 yards yesterday. That's awesome. There's 132 Division I teams. There's another 100 1AA teams. There's 500 D2 teams. You got to find a kicker who can make a 50-yard field goal in the damn NFL. What are we doing? It drives me insane. Rodrigo Blankenship can make that kick. There's a guy named Jose Borregales who won the damn Lou Groza Award a few years ago that posts videos every day that can make the kick. We get the one bum that looks like he's from the Dr. Pepper kick with Pat McAfee that can't make a kick. What are we doing? How stupid are we?
I'm not going to blame one player because my focus and laser focus was on the quarterback, Kirk Cousins, who's now out of here, and the kicker, Younghoe Koo, but they're a part of it. And then your coach is a part of it. And then your defensive coordinator is a part of it. You lost a game where you scored 38 points with a rookie quarterback at home.
Dude, you lost to the Carolina Panthers.
You lost to the Carolina Panthers, who beat nobody and had 4 wins coming into your building. You lost the last 2 weeks and this is the thing that sums it up for me. No matter what was going on the first 15 weeks, no matter who wasn't performing, you had a chance to erase all of it if you won 2 of your last 2 games. So you had an opportunity in front of you to correct it all, and there were no corrections.